Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by BASF, where you can count on the trusted performance of Allevo seed treatment to protect your soybean crop. Powered by Soy Biodiesel. Heading to the Wyandotte County Fair today. Visit with the folks of Nature's Alpine Solutions. Looking further in the schedule on Monday, setup day for Farm Science Review. We'll have an update from the folks at Holman Incorporated. Then on Tuesday, we'll get the latest update from Ag Credit, and they'll be talking more about financing the future of rural America. So lots of things happening there. Also, while we're on that, let's get to the calendar, where the Ohio Cattlemen's Association is hosting 6 free educational meetings covering topics like grazing management, reproduction, and herd health. Meetings include dinner and require registration. Visit ohiocattle.org for more information. Months after being outraged, agricultural groups on Tuesday largely praised the findings of the latest Make America Healthy Again Commission report, as the commission backed away from criticizing pesticides. Under the report, USDA and EPA will try to better educate the public on pesticide research and approvals, while also championing that farmers invest more in both precision agriculture and regenerative practices to reduce the use of farm chemicals. The report repeatedly highlights the value of soil health practices and conservation programs. Overall, the MAHA report spelled out a range of potential policy changes across various departments to address a crisis in children's health linked to poor diet, chemical exposure, lack of physical activity, and over-medication. Today's weather brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
More dry air holding over Ohio here as we finish the week. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Quick forecast for you here in Ohio. Sunshine, blue sky, dominating for your Thursday, for your Friday, for your Saturday. Temperatures warmer each consecutive day by a little bit. I don't think we're going to be uncomfortable, but humidity values may try and creep up just a little bit starting tomorrow and into Saturday. We're watching a weather system still trying to meander through Michigan on Saturday. I think the remains of it will try and drag through parts of Ohio overnight Saturday night into Sunday morning. I'm not calling for much moisture, but I won't rule out some hit-and-miss scattered showers over the western half of the state. A few hundreds to a few tenths. Coverage only about 30 to 40%, but it is a threat of moisture. By Sunday afternoon, we're right back to the dry stuff, and we are rain-free all the way through next week, from this Sunday afternoon through next Sunday. And then we see a little bit more scattered shower action trying to pop up for the week of the 22nd, actually starting back overnight the 21st into the 22nd. Several light waves of moisture trying to head this way, giving us a chance for on-again, off-again moisture, but I want to stress the light part of that. Not looking at big rains anytime soon. Nothing super well organized. That's the way your forecast is stacking up. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. Let's check in with our weekly update from the Ohio Soybean Council and your checkoff dollars at work. Here's Dusty Sonnenberg.
Joining me today is Bennett Musselman. Bennett is a farmer in Pickaway County, also currently serving as vice president of the Ohio Soybean Association. Bennett, you recently had the opportunity to host a trade team from countries in Southeast Asia. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, we had the opportunity to host folks from, I believe, 9 different countries. They really like Ohio soybeans. The quality of Ohio soybeans is what they consider one of the best. Our ability to raise them efficiently and our ability to get them to their facility quickly. There are some other countries, I'm not sure which particular countries they get some meal or soybeans from, and they have to worry about whether or not they will make the trip overseas and still be viable and not rot. And they don't have that problems with our soybeans.
Well, again, my guest today has been Bennett Musselman. He is currently vice president with the Ohio Soybean Association. He's a Pickaway County farmer, and we've been talking about a recent trade team mission coming from Southeast Asian countries to his farm. Bennett, thanks so much for all your work and also for your time today.
Thank you.
And today's update brought to you by the Ohio Soybean Council and your soybean checkoff.
USDA sent a shockwave through the corn market last month with a monster 188.8 bushel per acre corn yield, as well as a 2.1 million acre increase to estimated planted acreage for 2025. However, corn futures prices have shown a surprising degree of resiliency, with December futures at the time of this note up from August 12th by 25 cents. For Friday's report, the Dow Jones survey of 17 analytics and advisor firms echoes this sentiment, with the average trade guess from the national average corn yield coming in at 186.1, which would be 2.7 bushels per acre cut from the report a month ago. This certainly seems like a fair adjustment given the more challenging conditions in the eastern Corn Belt through August. To sum up the domestic Corn Belt, the average trade estimate is calling for ending stocks of 2.02 billion bushels, the highest in 7 years. If true, demand estimates will likely remain record strong. And don't forget, the World Ag Supply and Demand estimate comes out at noon on Friday. Let's check into the soybean side of this. From the first session of August to the end of the month, November soybean futures rallied over 65 cents, fueled by the surprise 2.6 million acre cut to the estimate planted acreage, and despite a 1.1 bushel per acre increase to the national yield in the August WASDE report. Since the start of September, prices have relaxed somewhat as traders remain very nervous about the demand situation for U.S. soybeans, with China yet to book a single cargo of new crop U.S. beans. On Friday, USDA will refresh the soybean balance sheet, which is currently teetering on the knife's edge between bullish and bearish. For the world soybean market, the trade isn't expecting many surprises, with Brazil's and Argentina's harvest long completed, but it will be interesting to monitor South America demand and stocks in combination with any potential updates to China's balance sheet through the trade standoff. Back with more after this.
Get ready for the 63rd Annual Farm Science Review, September 16th through the 18th near London, Ohio. Explore hundreds of exhibits, field demonstrations, and educational sessions. Get pre-sale discounted tickets at participating OSU Extension offices, agribusinesses, or online at fsr.osu.edu. Plan your trip with the digital directory and mobile app, and follow Farm Science Review on social media. Don't miss the 63rd Farm Science Review, September 16th through the 18th.
Attention construction pros. Purple Wave Auction brings quality equipment to your fingertips. Join our bi-weekly online auctions featuring dozers, excavators, loaders, and more. We provide detailed listings, photos, and seller contact info. Inspect online or in person. With our no reserve policy, every item sells to the highest bidder. Visit purplewave.com today and see why informed builders choose Purple Wave. Transparent processes, real deals. Your next great purchase awaits. purplewave.com.
U.S. dairy exports started off the second half of the year with a bang as shipments in July soared 7% year over year in milk solids equivalent terms. Though down on an average daily basis from June's pent-up demand-infused numbers, July results was nonetheless very strong by historical standards, boasting the second largest volume moved in any month since August of 2022. Notably, near every product category saw volumes rise during the month. Cheese continued its tear, blowing through the prior records to hit a new all-time high of 52,105 metric tons. That's a 29% increase, and that was exports during the month. Year-to-date cheese exports have raced past prior year levels 14% and appear well on track to handily deliver another annual record in 2025. Cheese wasn't the only product to post a strong July, as exports of butterfat continued to boom, driven by affordability and availability compared to alternative global suppliers. Average retail fertilizer prices were evenly mixed during the first week of September, with prices for half of the 8 major fertilizers higher and prices for the other half lower. For the first time in 4 weeks, one fertilizer saw a significant price jump from last month, which DTN designates as anything 5% or more. The average retail price of phosphorus fertilizer DAP was $860 per ton, up 5% from last month. Now, the global supply of nitrogen, specifically UAN, is facing some major issues, according to StoneX Media notes by Josh Linville, StoneX Vice President of Fertilizers. In the global UAN market, supply issues persist. European facilities continue to operate at 75% of normal operating capacities. Trinidad has struggled to maintain production recently, and the lingering question is when these supply concerns will reemerge there, Linville wrote. Also, fertilizer imports could be lower in the U.S. if President Donald Trump places tariffs on Russian goods, Linville wrote. Exports, meanwhile, could be higher if global supply issues persist. In addition, nitrogen demand is expected to be high in the spring of 26 on a large corn acreage estimate. Today's market analysis is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company. Excited to be building the newest state-of-the-art soybean crush facility in Upper Sandusky, Ohio. For marketing information of your beans to LDC, call 574-566-2113. Now with our analysis, here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finished the Wednesday session in the red once again. Corn down about 2 to 4, soybeans down 5 to 6. The wheat markets down anywhere from 3 to 6 cents across Chicago, Kansas City, and Minneapolis markets. The only place we saw green on the screen was in bean oil yesterday. Bean oil up about 40 to 55 points. Cotton was green as well. Bean oil, the speculation is now that the MAHA documents have come out and there was not much mention or any mention of the vegetable oil markets. Bean oil tried to put a little bit back in to the trading balance sheet as we went through the day yesterday. What else was in the marketplace? The answer to that was not very much as we continue to broadcast here from the Wyandotte County Fair in Upper Sandusky at the Louis Dreyfus booth. We did see Paris wheat futures bounce yesterday from an oversold chart condition. U.S. harvest and slowing export demand had the corn and soybean futures hamstrung at best. We've got the WASDE report out on Friday, just about a session and a half away now from getting a new update on what crop numbers are going to be in that report. However, what's really interesting is the fact that volume has fallen off a cliff. The volume yesterday was one of the lowest volume days in corn in a number of years, I think going back to 2023, and that just tells you there's nobody that really wants to take a big position ahead of this report. I think it's mostly due to the scaredness of a major surprise out of USDA. What could that surprise be? Well, we're hearing some rumblings that maybe old crop corn gets revised higher. So if you have a higher acreage on corn like they found last month, and then you have the revised old crop numbers up as well, you are creating quite the supply conundrum here for the market to digest, even if we get better demand to come online or see increasingly strong demand out of biofuels. That supply problem could be a big one. We will see what happens on Friday. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. We'll look at the overnight figures after this. The Ohio's Country Journal sweepstakes are back. 4 winners will receive a $250 Visa gift card. Subscriptions are still free, but we must have a new request on file from subscribers every 3 years. Come renew or subscribe at the Farm Science Review, and you'll meet that September 20th deadline to be entered. If you've already subscribed since January 1, 2025, you're automatically already entered. Good luck, everyone.
It's the livelihood of Ohio farmers.
Planting, fertilizing, tending, and working.
Long days, short nights, cab meals, and tractor rides with the kids.
It all leads up to harvest.
Farmers are parents, siblings, children, and friends, and they're working hard to feed us all.
Give farmers plenty of room to work on the roads this harvest season.
From all of us here at the Ohio AgNet, have a safe harvest.
Today's market is brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Overnight at the open, December corn up a half at $4.17 March up 3/4 at $4.35 November beans down a penny and a half at $10.23 3/4 January down a penny and a half at $10.43 1/4 The only number trading in wheat is December. It's up 1/4 cent at $5.15 1/4 In livestock, October cattle rebounds 97 cents at $231.15. December up $1.50 at $232.67. And February $234 even, up $1.65. October lean hogs up 70 cents at $96.82. December closed up 42 at $88.27. February was unchanged at $90.22. In feeder cattle, after that $9.25 drop on Tuesday, we now have October feeder cattle closing up 47 at $350.40. November down 60 cents at $348.27. And January $342.37, down $1.02. This is the Ohio AgNet.